Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. Happy Friday to you. I really wanted to jump on here today and share with you all a message that I felt very guided to transmit to you. Here, just within the last few weeks, there has been an increase in reports from people that I work with, my friends, some family members as well, of a very specific kind of dream time location or dream time experiences. And a lot of people report an increase or uptick in these very visceral, strange dream time occurrences right after the attack on Lahaina. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm just jumping right into it, you guys. No time to waste. I don't want to spend any time with an intro explaining what this is about. I'm just going to get to it because this message really does, I felt like I needed to get it out to you today. But ever since the attack on Lahaina, the attack on Maui, I feel that something very significant has shifted in this world. I believe that the military installations on, around, within the vicinity of Hawaii, they are very significant posts, if you will. They are probably some of the most significant installations that we have, and the cabal, as we'll call them, they were not in a position to they were not in a position to lose that stronghold, that footing. Now, this is more than just military industrial complexity. Okay, this is more than just earth military or private corporations. This goes way, way back. I believe that Hawaii has these gateways, and I mean literal gateways. I believe that there are entrances that are being utilized as jump off points, as I call them, and they are these very significant checkpoints, if you will, that for a very long time, the cabal has facilitated transnational and interplanetary commodity trading, trafficking, and shuffling. Now, this might sound like wild, just horse shit to a lot of people, and that's okay. This message is not for you if you think that such a thing is not happening or couldn't happen. It is happening. Hate to burst your bubble, but we are in the middle of a war, and this is not the time to be full of hesitant, don't be hesitant now. Now is not a time to stop. I know a lot of people are very tired right now. They're very emotionally exhausted, spiritually, they're burnt out, financially, the pressure is really on for people right now. This is probably the up till this point, I would say, amongst the people that I'm connected with, that I network with, and we keep in touch, these are some of the darker times that are being shared amongst us. And, all the more reason I feel guided to just contribute my piece to the collective and be of help and support where I can. Hello, everybody. You guys know I'm a terrible multitasker, so if I don't read the chat, it's not because I'm ignoring anybody. It's because I have to try to stay on task. Okay. So that being said, if you have made it to this point, to this phase of the Great Awakening, you need to be aware of this fact, of this truth. And I wrote a whole bunch of stuff down here because I tend to write a lot more clearly what the messages are, as opposed to just kind of speaking them in real time. So I did write some stuff down that I'd like to share. So I have here, you were dreamed into this existence as an act of the universe's own hope and as an expression of rebellion. And I've kind of mentioned this before. Of course, there's somebody pulling up to my house right now. This always happens. No visitors, nothing for a long time. And then as soon as I go live, somebody comes to my door. So hopefully I don't get hopefully it doesn't. Oh no, he's gone. Okay. So you were dreamed into this existence as an act of the universe's own hope and as an expression of rebellion. This is something that you absolutely need to know. The title of this live is You Are the Technology, and I mean that in the most literal sense. Those of you that are familiar, somewhat familiar, even have an inkling of what these clandestine DARPA projects, these hugely funded projects that have been taking place behind the scenes, of which those transactions cannot even be traced. Catherine Austin Fitts is a wonderful resource as far as exact references and citations, and we can take a look back at the Department of Defense's funding just in 2020 alone. It was some astronomical number, and yet we don't have basic health care. We don't have things in this country. Where is all of that money going? Well, that money has been going, a lot of it has been going into space, and a lot of it has been going into the development of technologies that actually manipulate our dream time. So they manipulate us on a frequency basis, and they actually have access to us in the astral realms. How is this possible? Well, they have tracked down, hunted, kidnapped, tortured, and employed the use of very, very powerful human beings, hybrids as well, throughout the generations and generations that this war is going on. They have found a way to get their claws into the beings of light, those of us in physical form that have that blueprint about us, that blueprint inside. The forces of darkness, the children of darkness, have managed to get their talons inside a lot of those beings and have attempted to reverse engineer the way that their system works, and have utilized these beings, these children of light, as a means, as a bastardized attempt, an attempt made in vain to traverse the cosmic landscape here. And so they have taken every shortcut, every hack, every shortcut, basically, whatever, because it takes work in order to be, to embody the Christ consciousness, what Jesus Christ and those like him, those before him, have essentially come here to show us, was that we are the technology. We are the technology. If you guys haven't listened to it or read it, please read the Gospel of Mary. The Gospel of Mary, there's a reason it was left out. There's a reason it's not talked about. It has some real gems in there, and she really does, it really does cover, the principles of our reality being a product of what the mind and the heart create together. And so it is so important that your heart is attuned to the natural order, to natural law, to natural frequencies. And what I am suggesting specifically about Hawaii, and I'm not the only one who's saying this, but it was very important to the cabal. I call them ancient death cults, or this is like a cosmic gang wars, and humans are the commodity, humans are the herd. This place is the prize, and they are fighting amongst themselves. And I believe that you are here. If you find yourself here, if you feel like you know what's going on, even if you don't know what's going on, you don't have to know what's going on in order to feel and intuit that something is happening, and that you are somehow part of it, that you can be of service in some way, that you get to choose, and I gotta try to stay on track here. The notes don't even help. I just get all over the place. So, okay, so I got something. Okay, so Hawaii, they had to have maintenance, they had to have management over that particular outpost, because it is a very important one in terms of the shuffling of commodities. There's a reason why all of the cabal's favorites, these figureheads like Oprah and The Rock and all these people, there's a reason why they were all fixated on this particular patch of land. And it has everything to do with the naturally occurring meridian points of the planet itself. And it is a doorway. Those islands, they are a doorway, they are a gateway. And if the negative, malevolent cabal can essentially man those gates, if they are the ones that are standing at the gate, they then have the ability to manage who and what is allowed to be shuffled back and forth. And I mean, this is just a complete gross misuse of power. There is such a lack of balance in this situation. And this goes back for many, many thousands and thousands of years. The cards are essentially stacked against modern humans in the sense that our enemies, our common enemies, have the advantage of recall. They know Earth's true history, and the surface population does not. And so what you don't know, you don't know. And knowledge truly is power. So I was also guided to share with you guys that the cranium, because I'm getting very, very strong messages to elude people to the technology that is their physical body, because ultimately this is coming down to a war of technologies. They're bastardized, reverse engineered, synthetic technologies versus the organic, divine, natural technology of the human body, the human heart, the mind, the thoughts, our nervous systems, our lymphatic fluid, our everything inside the body is a physical expression of God. And it's up to us to choose to attune ourselves to the original heart frequency. Notice a lot of the people that have been negatively affected by the pokey poke. All of this is attacks on the heart. They are attempting to attack the organic heart grid because that is the technology that they cannot bridle. They can't tame it. They don't even understand it. Now, this is a disadvantage on their part. It has always been a blind spot of theirs, the fact that they do not have this deeper, it's a blind spot for them because they don't have that same empathic, that divinity about them, or they have turned their backs on it. It's not that they were forsaken or they weren't allowed or they were shut out. They turned away from it. They turned away from creator's love. They turned away from divine intelligence. They turned away from it in lieu of something else. So another thing I was getting, so the cranium, okay, so the skull, and just this whole structure here, the way that the skull sits atop the spine, sits atop the ladder, and it sort of fans out and has these wings and our limbs, and just the whole structure of the human body is really like, I'm feeling guided to share with you guys it's how it functions as a counter weapon, and how this synthetic technology that they are developing and attempting to put online, it counters that naturally. There isn't some crazy stuff you have to do. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't have some secret, code or something. It's not that, you guys. This is my brain is just the receiver, and all this information exists freely, openly in the ether for anybody whose heart is open and who chooses life and love and the future of humanity, a good future for humanity. It's that simple. It is that simple. the cranium functions as a type of helmet, and it's a very old technology between the skeletal system, the nervous system, the endocrine system, the adrenaline system. All of this whole system operates with such a sophistication that there is some way to bring about these defensive. It's almost like the structures of the bones, as they are integrated through the power of knowledge. It's almost like these exoskeletons, if you will, energetic exoskeletons are brought online. Some would call it the armor of God. I would call it that, but maybe not in the sense that it's typically or traditionally understood. For me, it looks a little bit different. It looks so old. It predates scripture. It predates the Bible. It predates recorded history, or at least academia's idea of recorded history. Way predates it. This is a technology that recreates itself across the cosmos, and that is what makes it so unyielding and so difficult to compete with, so difficult to override, which is why this campaign of terrorism, of fear, of malevolent technology, of propaganda, that's why they have to fight to the death for this, because our technology is far superior. The technology of your body, the technology of your free will, your choice, your emotion, it is so powerful. So let's see. You are the technology, your beating hearts united, your mental streams. So, they are definitely very clever, and they have had a long time to refine and sophisticate their technology. And they've also, in many instances, been successful, like I said, in getting their claws into those beings that hold the light. So we all know about the human trafficking and the child trafficking, and it is the crux of this whole fight, is where they are dragging souls through the ringer and misusing and abusing and siphoning this power and using it for themselves. And I want to convey that as an individual right now, you have the ability to choose. That sovereignty, that choice resides within you. And so they can affect your money. They can affect your health in a lot of ways, because the air quality, the water, the food, they can hurt you in so many ways. But one thing that they cannot override is where your heart's loyalty is. They can give people heart attacks. They can attack the heart. There are so many things that they can do. But the heart is such a sophisticated, it is the seat or the throne of all human history and the history of the universe. And that is something that no technology can override, recreate, or mess with. It is just indomitable. And so think of the power that human beings have when those heart fields are unified in a vision, in a sort of team effort. Now, you might be thinking, Jenny, I don't have the ability to meet with the other awakened souls. I can't just, jump in my car and go to a meetup somewhere. And that's okay. You don't need to do anything or go anywhere. This is about your knowledge. This is about your choice. This is about accepting once and for all that, first of all, you're not crazy. Because I know we have been gaslighted for many, many years. So that's nothing really new, but it is dark times right now due to the economy. We try to tell everybody, the stuff out there isn't a problem until that stuff comes to you, and it now is your problem. And that is essentially what has happened, is that, we heard the echoes of war for many decades. We heard whispers of it. We knew that there was stirring. We knew that there was something coming. And here it is. It is here at our doorstep. How do we fight it? What do we do? Well, you can, first and foremost, your body is the primary battlefield. Your heart is the primary battlefield. You have to understand that now. Control over your thoughts. You don't have to be perfect, but you absolutely do have to be the captain of the ship that is your mind, your astral sphere, your mental sphere, rather. You have to be the commander at the helm of that ship. You cannot surrender your decision making. You cannot surrender anything anymore. I mean, other than the flow of things. I'm not saying don't exercise resistance. I'm saying go with the flow. Surrender your need to know everything all at once. It's too overwhelming to need to know or want to know the play-by-play of what's going on in this political sphere or this dog and pony show over here. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the integrity of your human heart, because that is the throne of the soul right there. And that's it. There's a lot about when you allow your heart to attune itself to the God technology that exists naturally in and of planet Earth. When you do that, you bring online this armor, and I mean this armor in a very, it's a real thing. These are real crystalline-esque structures that form around your auric field. And they are very real. We might not be able to perceive them with the naked eye, but these are real structures. If you guys have had this experience before, please let us know. But many years ago, I used to have flashes where I could see someone either had a set of wings, or it would be like someone was talking to another person and they were very convicted in what they were saying. And I would see like a flash, like a diamond, almost like a structure or a jewel that formed right in front of this person's head as they were fully, with their whole being, communicating something. And I would only see it for a second. And sometimes, in your peripheral, you might see that somebody is it looks like they're wearing armor on their shoulders, or it looks like they're wearing, some kind of something, or someone is walking around with they're like a type of crystalline arcanum. So somebody is walks around with a sword. Do they have a physical sword? No, you can't see it, but that person may have a gift of speech or conviction. And it translates itself into a real, because realities are merging right now, newsflash, but it translates itself to a real crystalline, multi-dimensional arcanum that we would recognize if we saw it. So let's see. I also have that silver, silver spray. The word is totally leaving. You guys in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. Colloidal silver, monatomic gold, or also known as ormus. So I don't sell it. I'm not even going to post a link because I'm not affiliated, sponsored, anything. I don't sell anything. I give tarot readings. I give intuitive readings and I give tarot readings. That's what I do. I'm not selling anything. I also have a Patreon. If you guys wanted to support my Patreon, I have the link below if you're interested in this sort of thing. I do my tarot readings on Patreon all the time. But monoatomic gold, also known as ormus, colloidal silver, and even if you don't have access to those things, you don't want to purchase them, you don't want to order them, that's fine. Even allowing yourself to focus on the essence of silver, the essence of gold. These metals appear to behave as a counter to these heavy metals: aluminum, barium, lithium, strontium, all of these weird heavy metals that are seeding the atmosphere, which, by the way, happen to be fire accelerants. I just learned that today. All these chemtrails, all that weird stuff that you see, that you're breathing, you can smell the metal in the air. All of those things work to accelerate fires and combustible things that combust. Okay, so they are quite literally prepping our atmosphere for terrible conditions. They're prepping the surface for some kind of scenario in which we are toxified by the air, the water, the soil. And so how do we combat this? Well, first of all, we don't want to help them. We don't want to help them in any way. We don't want to make things easier for them. So we do not take their chemicals into us willingly. Okay, there's only so much we can do about the water, the air. We have to breathe, we have to drink water, but no jabs. Okay, I know if you're here, you're not into that stuff, but no jabs, never again. Another thing too, be very mindful. Okay, be very mindful of what you're putting into your body. Lots of doctors and researchers have, and I just want to be careful about what I say, because they're probably going to clap me here in a minute. They're probably going to give me a strike or something like that. But there's a larva. There is some kind of larva inside the contents of the jab. And this larva appears to be excited and feeds off of these heavy metals that are also in the atmosphere. So what I and others are hinting at, proposing here, is that they are attempting to create an atmosphere that supports some kind of parasitic network. And that parasitic network takes on various levels. It has a multi-tiered mechanism to it. And when the human body is lined with this graphene and this nanotechnology, and basically that human being becomes a living puppet. Their nervous system, their heart, their brain, all of those systems are then at the mercy of some kind of remote stimuli, something that can be externally manipulated to literally puppet people, infrastructure, atmospheric happenings. It's not just people. There was just a clown show of a press conference recently where Joe Biden, or the actor who's playing Joe Biden, discloses that he convenes his administration to being the part of the government that will use all resources at its disposal to incite extreme weather events. You can go find that. Okay, you can go find that. He said that. They're admitting, they are telling us what they are going to do next. So we will see, unfortunately, we will likely be asked or challenged to navigate a time where the weather systems that we're facing, this isn't anything new, but this is now something that they are just blatantly telling us. So I take that as it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. I'm not here to propagate fear. I'm just here to send messages. Okay. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything or control anybody's point of view. You guys have known me for years. I'm not about the clout. I'm not about the followers. I'm not about the popularity contest. I do my thing, I speak my piece, I contribute, and I walk my true path, and that's it. And everybody is free to do the same. And that's how I feel about that. But weather manipulation is a very interesting realm for the cabal to have put their hands in, because this is a direct mimicry of Earth's natural sentient mechanisms. And so I find myself very drawn to the idea of the reconciliation of human beings with what I call the other kin, or the flora and the fauna of this world. Because I don't think that we can defeat this predator alone. I think that it is required that we have a much fuller spectrum understanding of what a human being is, and how we as human beings are connected to the flora and the fauna and the sort of the magnetic atmosphere of this earth. That knowledge is the tipping point for the winning of this war. It is who is going to dominate the field, the quantum field of battle, whichever network is bulkier, whichever network has more people that tether it into the earth. So by dabbling in weather manipulation, I believe that the cabal has stuck their hands in domains that are, you'd have to maintain almost a constant spell or hex, if you will, over these forces, these natural forces, in order to get them to do your bidding. And you guys know that the people at the very top, they're not just scientists. They're not just, rich, selfish people. They're magicians. They're sorcerers, and not the good kind. They have utilized sacred knowledge and misused it and hoarded it and have used it to their own selfish means. Now, this is really not news to any of you guys. I know that you guys are veterans of the game, and not, this isn't groundbreaking information here, but let this serve as confirmation that the tides have shifted since the fires in Lahaina. The people of Maui know what happened. They know that this was an open act, open war, open combat perpetuated on people, our own people, like our own countrymen, our own brethren are under attack. The same thing happened in Paradise, California. These are directed energy weapons, utilized and operated by the enemy of man, the enemies of God. Sometimes some of these people are not people in the way that you and I are. They may look like people, but they are puppeted by arcanic forces, and they are not fully, they're certainly not captaining the helm of the mind and the heart. Okay. Some of these people are people just like you and me, whose families are being threatened. And so we do have to reserve space for compassion in situations like that. Let's see what's going on in the chat. It's really nice to see you guys. I hope everyone's having a nice Friday. Again, shouldn't it be you are the technology? You just said it. Good for you. You just improved the title of my video. Thank you for that very much. Well, no, and I think I put emphasis on the R. You are the technology, because there is quite a campaign to suggest that this is a war for technology, that this is a war about, sort of getting ahead of it. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's an external technology or anything like that. I think that we are the technology that is the subject of this war. If they can dominate the nervous system, skeletal system, the heart because you guys know that the heart emanates an electromagnetic field that is something like 500 times stronger than that emitted of the brain. If they can dominate and control that field, then they have essentially won, because that field generates the reality that we collectively experience together, that we collectively perceive together. So it's not just a war for, a political ideology. This isn't just a war that, the left, so that they can, have their way with people. It's not just about that. This is literally a war for what we collectively dream into being here in the shining world. And as you know, that all starts from the realm of spirit. So that is where they will initially attack, is in the spirit realm, in dream time, when you are vulnerable, when you are sleeping, when you are not fully at the helm of your ship. So I don't want to take a long time here. This was supposed to be a quick message, but I did want to share with you that I also was able to confirm with my cards, with my tarot cards, that there are forces of light, forces of good that are armed, organized, and prepared to take on the physical manifestations, the physical minions represented by the dark team, by Team Dark. And what I'm saying by this is that there does appear to be military units, whether they are US Marines, whether they are Rangers, whether they are SEALs. I don't know that. But what I do know is that there are armed, trained, prepared, and able bodies that are fighting on our behalf. I know this to be true. And it was their energy that gave me the strength and desire to share this with you. And that is because their operations they have to remain, and I get emotional because I feel so connected to them. And in this incarnation, I wasn't meant to be one of them. I wasn't meant to take on, an armed position, and that's okay. In this incarnation, I'm meant to be exactly who and what I am now, but it does come with a tinge of sadness and overwhelm, because those are my brothers and sisters that are fighting the good fight. And their efforts will be known in time. And if you want to help, if you want to be of service, all you really have to do is settle into your heart space, feel your own heartbeat, trust that you are an expression, the universe's means of expressing rebellion against usurpers, a means of expressing rebellion and resistance against the forces of darkness and evil. And we're just playing this out. The world is a stage, and these avatars that we walk in, we are living out this cosmic play. And our higher selves are watching 100%. Our ancestors are watching, our future descendants are watching, our star families, our other kin, everybody. We're not alone in this. And that was a huge part of this message too, is that you are not alone. And I know it feels like we're alone, and that's part of the campaign, that is part of the propaganda, that is part of the mind control, is that they want us to feel alone. They want us to feel like we don't have anybody, like that there is no hope. But we know that that is a natural phase in this process, this sort of rise and fall, and the rise and fall of empires, and this cyclic theme that we experience incarnation after incarnation, eon after eon, age after age, era after era, in every galaxy, the universe wide. We have done this before. We can do this again. This is the act of taking our power back through knowledge, through unity, and through action. So I really wanted to share this with you guys. You are the technology, your physical body. You have helmets and armor and weapons that I call them your arcanum. And there are your arcanum. If you've ever been around someone who, it just feels like they have some kind of a weapon with them, or there's something that they do really well, and it's like, oh, kind of like, Hermione from Harry Potter. She had her bag, she had this bottomless bag, and that was her arcanum. She always had this bag, which is almost like a metaphor for a person who always has solutions, a person who is extremely resourceful. Some people, again, are just they're exquisite deliberators of energy. That person might appear, their arcana may be a wand or some kind of a staff that directs energy. And what I want people to do is to remember, or create for the first time, if that resonates with you, create your arcanum. You are allowed to do that. It is your birthright. And take this as a personal challenge to identify your arcanum. Do you have a sword? Do you have a bow and arrow? Do you have a horse? Do you have a ship? This may sound fantastical, but just wait and see what happens in the next few weeks and months in terms of, it's just the wildest shit is going to start becoming more and more apparent. And quite literally, if seeing is believing, so one last thing too. It is important that you choose sooner than later your allegiance in terms of your heart and that heart energy. Do you want to do the natural technology? Do you want to be part of, the earth and her evolution? Do you want to be part of that system? Or do you want to be part of the zombie, parasite, death cult, slavery system? You are free to choose. That being said, it is important that you, oh my God, come back. This always happens. Every time I go live on YouTube, sometimes it just feels like my thoughts are like just kind of taken. It'll come back. Sorry, guys. So, silver and gold. Take your monoatomic gold, your Ormus. If you don't have it, that's okay. Solar energy, true solar energy. You can enhance your naturally occurring solar energy just by focusing on your inner sun, or focusing on solar energy, which is golden. It is masculine. It is the father. It is illuminating. It burns everything away. It's the life giver, and it also is the purifier. So you can recreate the essence of silver and gold in your system. And I believe, as of right now, my understanding is that the silver, the gold, and the other noble metals do help us to combat this synthetic network, which is made up of weird metal, heavy metal. It's manipulated metal. I do believe that network, the synthetic network, also works with what is called the black goo. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with that, but the black goo appears to be like a physical manifestation, or physical matrix, if you will. It's like if arcanic forces could take physical form, they take on this black goo, and this black goo is programmable. It can move of its own volition. It's super creepy stuff. We want no part of it. It is within your sovereign right as a divine soul to send that shit away and tell your physical system that no such malevolent technology is allowed to penetrate your auric field, your physical body, your dream time. None of it. Graphene oxide, you can send it back. You don't have to play their game. You have a choice. So that, I think, is the biggest message that I have for you. If they didn't attack Hawaii, the risk of being unable to control the ingoing and outgoing of interplanetary and transnational movement would have cost the cabal something too significant, and they could not afford to let that go. So they had to do this. They had to plan this for a long time in advance. But the risk for them is within the union. There is something about when human beings behold natural phenomenon, which, you know, the mind control campaign has suggested to modern humans that miracles don't exist, or that miracles only happen in very isolated incidences. That's not true. Miracles exist constantly, everywhere, every day, all around us, because magic is scientific. Magic is natural orders that we just don't understand yet or anymore. Natural orders, natural occurrences that happen due to divine orchestration. We just don't understand it, so we call it magic, or we call it a miracle, okay? But the truth is that our existence, we were dreamed into existence. That was an act of supreme magic. Supreme love magic is responsible for our very existence here. I have described the awakened amongst us as a type of white blood cell, if you will. And what I mean by that is when an organism, the planet, is under attack, or, you know, in the case of, you know, the human body, if you are under attack, your natural immunity, your body will create antibodies, or something to combat that invader, infection, parasite, bug, virus, what have you. Your body will fight. I believe that the earth realm, the shining world, the material world is no different, in that she needed help, humanity needed help, and you were a result of divine order of this planet, this organism, humanity defending itself against an invader, an infection, a parasite. I believe that that is what we are, but we only work efficiently when we are unified and when we know what the fuck we are. We don't know what we are. We're just kind of, you know, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't want you to feel like you're alone. You're not alone. It's propaganda. You're not alone. There's a lot of us. We are the majority. So this is what I want to leave you guys with. Get in touch with your arcanum. Choose your weapons. Know that it comes down to a war of the metals, which is why, you know, they have their synthetic metallic zombie parasite network. It will come down to that network versus the network of the unified heart field and an awakened population that knows what they want, and they have to choose. We have to choose. So in gratitude, in love, in respect, think good thoughts, if you can. Hey, I'm not a love and lighter. You guys know that. But I think that especially a lot of the awakened feel overly susceptible and very vulnerable right now. So be gentle with yourself. Don't allow your brain to be your worst enemy. Speak nicely to yourself. If you feel or hear yourself talking down about yourself, stop, cut that shit out. Be your own friend, because your body is listening. That's not how you talk to the armor. That's not how you talk to your armor of God. You appreciate your system for what it is. You, in gratitude, this is your This is your uniform. These are your original clothes, if you will. So I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your Friday and also your weekend. If you are interested in supporting me in my work, please subscribe to my Patreon. I've posted a link below. It's very affordable, either $17 a month or $25 a month. And what that will get you is a weekly live stream with me where we consult with the cards, questions and answers. And I allow my subscribers also to have access to me through Messenger, meaning, if they can't, for whatever reason, or don't want a question made public, they just go ahead and send me a message and let me know what their question is privately, and I find a way to get that reading to them. Also, Patreon subscribers do enjoy a discounted rate for all personal sessions. Yes, I did do a Cliff High interview a few years ago that is called or Aquatic Creators. So if you'd like access to that video, all you have to do is just go to my YouTube channel, scroll down, and you'll see that video of Cliff High and myself. That was a really awesome interview. I'm very grateful that I got to do that. So check out my Patreon. It's a really cool place where we get to convene and talk about all things personal, spiritual, and take a look at what's to come. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so grateful that I got an audience with you guys. Please know that you are not alone at all. You are so far from alone. It isn't even funny. Choose your arcanum wisely, and many blessings to you all. Bye.